just a few things to just a few things to clarify for this video. What I'm about to say here is genuinely me being very pissed off with Sonic Team and the fan base a little bit. Now, in the previous recording, the recording didn't really go well, and in the end, I thought I could have done a better job on explaining my anger with Sonic Team, I guess. And I'm not usually this negative when it comes to Sonic, because, as you all know, if you watch my Sonic content, you'll know that I'm actually pretty positive when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog. There are a few exceptions here and there, but overall, I really enjoy what Sonic usually brings into the table. But with the release of Sonic X Shadow Generations, while the Shadow Generations part had me excited to hell and back, admittedly the Sonic Generations portion of Sonic X Shadow Generations, it didn't initially left me feel very annoyed, because I genuinely didn't really mind Sonic Generations looking the same like it did on Xbox Series X or the PC port, until I found some information from a Sonic content creator known as SF Productions. It was a video called "Is Sonic X Shadow Generations Actually Remastered?" Now, the video itself I thought was pretty well structured, and there was nothing really wrong with the video itself, but rather the info that was showed. I cannot express to you how much I hate this. I'll just run the clip, because it pretty much explains itself.
I am allowed to criticize an aspect of the game, especially if there's blatant false advertising involved. Just because there's new content doesn't give Sega a pass to cut corners. They advertise enhanced visuals, yet there is nothing enhanced about these visuals. So why am I even making this video? It started with a now deleted tweet, where a user, I'm going to keep anonymous, started analyzing the texture work of the Sonic Generations remaster, saying that the textures are lower res compared to what they should be. And to my surprise, this person got a lot of hate for this statement. I think a lot of people were entirely missing the point of this tweet. They weren't nitpicking one tiny detail, but rather they were just using it as an example of how this generation's remaster doesn't enhance any of the visuals. The textures are still the same resolution as they were in the original game. And I was just glad someone else had the same thoughts as me, because while I am extremely excited for Shadow Generations, I can't help but notice that there were some corners cut with this remaster. Later on, I was talking to Blue Wolf on Twitter, a well-known Sonic modder who is currently working on a full rework of Sonic Colors Ultimate called Project Re-Rainbow, which actually remasters the game this time around. They were explaining how all of the textures present in the remaster of Generations were the same low resolution as they have always been. What makes this even worse is the fact that Sega has the source assets on hand to make them higher resolution, but they're just not doing it. I'm no game developer or experienced modder or anything like that. I mean, I've made a fucking shoe mod for Frontiers, but that has nothing to do with texture resolutions. But since Blue Wolf clearly has some experience with this kind of thing, I think they're more than credible. And listen, I understand not wanting another Colors Ultimate situation, but the problem with that game was that Blind Squirrel was fixing things that didn't need to be fixed. Using Colors Ultimate as an excuse for Sega to port Generations without any graphical enhancements is not valid. Instead of learning from their mistakes and remastering the game, they just ported it and called it a day. And honestly, I would have been perfectly fine with that if they didn't flat out say that this version of the game had enhanced visuals. The fact that there's blatant false advertising in the marketing for this game is where I have an issue, because let's be real, Generations doesn't necessarily need anything more than a resolution bump, but just because the game already looks good doesn't mean it can't look so much better.
Yeah, that info there left me very disappointed. And this was the main thing this was the thing that made me very pissed off during this day, because I was planning on editing another video of mine talking about how Sonic 1 was a good start to the series, which that video is still coming, by the way. But before I was editing that video, I saw this video, and why? First off, they said that the game had updated visuals, Yet everything looks exactly the same here. Now again, I didn't complain about this initially first off, because again, I thought Generations looked perfectly fine, but they specifically said themselves that they were going to give this game updated visuals, but they lied. Like, this is legit taking a step backwards by a long shot. They fixed the pricing problem that us Sonic fans had with games like Sonic Superstars, but they lied to us once again. It's like misleading everyone with Sonic Forces, telling them that it was going to be an overly ambitious title, yet it feels like its ambition is completely empty. Just like Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces was hyped around 2017, but they messed it up really bad. And no, I don't plan on making a scripted video about Sonic Forces. I think I've got my opinion throughout the game, and I don't plan on revisiting it. I think that game is a pile of dog shit. But yeah, this is really sad because they showed so much promise with the Shadow Generations portion, but then the Sonic Generations portion, they just completely lied about it. False advertising, just like they did with Forces. I know that sounds really harsh of me to say that, considering that they want to improve upon Forces, and I'm not comparing Sonic X Shadow Generations to Sonic Forces on its own, but when it comes to the advertising of the game, they seem to be following the same mistake. Sonic marketing is a mess. Okay, maybe not a complete mess, but still. And again, I was perfectly fine with the visuals. I didn't mind it too much. But at the very least, stay true to what you're saying here. And listen, you all can say that it's nitpicking all you want, but like this is an entire half of this remaster. They put a full-on lie about the first half of an entire $50 experience. That's just sad, man. That's just sad. Now look, if you're perfectly fine with how Sonic Generations looks, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is attacking other people for criticizing the game. Someone literally had to delete their post. It was just because they were trying to expose one of Sega or Sonic Team's lies, or whoever posted that website. I get you guys want Sonic Inc. to be the best, and I know you guys want to be, and you guys are overly passionate about this blue hedgehog. But don't attack people for thinking differently and trying to make a point. Thank God I'm not a user of Twitter, because that is just, it's a toxic place. It's a toxic place right there. And the worst part is, as SF explained in his video, they had the assets of up-resing their cutscenes, but they had the stuff that they had to up-res the game, but they didn't. I have not been this mad at Sonic Team, or the Sonic community for that fact, in a long while. I have not been this angry with Sonic in, like, a while. Once again, I'm excited for the Shadow portion of this game, but I'm just really annoyed with Sonic Team because they could have easily made sure that this was going to be a fine remaster, and it might function well. It might not be overly buggy, but at the end of the day, Sega cannot market their games right. All right, Sonic marketing, as I said, is a mess. I apologize for this video if you guys were expecting something. I really wish it didn't have to come like that. I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Just with Sonic, and just with the marketing of Sonic being an absolute mess, and the Sonic community attacking all sorts of people for thinking differently. Heck, Matt has no cuts. It's literally got attacked for saying that Sonic X Shadow Generations looked like Forces or Frontier Cyberspace. These guys, this community is just unfun. It's unfun. So, with that said, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make this an overly long video. I'll link SF Productions video in the link in the description, along with some of the other footage I had for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.